Hey, hello. I hope you can hear me and see me well. So, Manifestation Monday, how are you all doing? We had a lot of good energies. We had a lot of opportunities for releasing things that don't serve us. And now what, right? And I made the video, The Eclipse Hangover. If you have not checked it out, definitely do. It's a good one. Really going into how do we make the most of these energies that are available to us now? How do we utilize it? How do we stay out of repeating the same old patterns? Okay. And now there were several comments that I want to address. Let's see how much time we have. But beginning with the first one, and that was that I am a dreamer, but taking action steps is the difficult part. And in that comment, there was something that really stood out to me that I want to address. Something that I do with all my one-on-one clients. I'm kind of a pain in the ass about this when people use the words shoulds or musts or have to, and I'll go, "Oh no, we don't say that." So here as well, this stood out to me. When we go into, especially when it's something as big as purpose, right? It's like, it's my purpose, it's my calling. This is what I came here to do. This is why I was born. And we feel like there's this, well, I have to. Can we instead shift it to I get to or I could? Understanding that there's no pressure. Even those things that are soul contracts, as some people would call them, we still have willpower. It's still up to us how whether we want to change that, whether we choose to go on with that or not. That there's no higher power judging you. It's like, well, time, you're just wasting your time. You're not doing what you're supposed to. And there's so much pressure from that. And this belief really came from, our childhood, from the parents that have expectations of us. Well, you're supposed to be on time, or society has expectations. That doesn't exist in that higher dimension, right? Because we are multidimensional beings. But it's important to understand that those things that make us feel good, that heart's calling, the soul's desires, there's no timeline for them. And it's okay if you don't get it in this lifetime, and there's no punishment if you don't. It's just your nature. And this is really in all religious texts. There's a lot of people who misinterpret this, but in all the sacred texts and the teachings, you are the energy of joy, of love, or of abundance. So none of those are in alignment with I have to, and I don't know, punishment if I don't. There's none of that. And it's actually the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we actually let go of that, that's when it just flows. Those inspirations, those, ooh, I want this to come into my reality. I want to create this in my world. I want to have this kind of lifestyle. I know I should get off my ass right now. I don't have to. I don't actually have to do anything. And when we're okay with that, when we can love the right now, that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, that right now, here is enough. When we come into that place, it's actually, and release that pressure, it's actually when more becomes available to us, ironically. And things just become easy and they flow. So I did want to address that because there's just so much resistance that is just created from this I have to, like, I know I should move on with this. I know I should do something. And understanding you don't have to. There is nobody keeping score, checking up on you, are you on time or not. It's up to you. And the question that's coming up for me here is why do you want to? Because as a lot of speakers would tell you, it's about for us to actually have consistent results, we have to be pushed by fear, but also pulled by our desire. And usually just one doesn't work. So with those have to, shoulds, must, right? Or this is my purpose. When we feel like we're just pushed by that fear of, well, I don't want to be that person who doesn't live up to, I'm not embodying my purpose. I'm not moving on with my life with those things that I know are right to me, my heart's calling. And we're just going into this, the fear of it. But can we bring in also, what are you being pulled by? Why do you want to do it? Why? What would it create in your life? What is the impact that it would create around you? And combining of those two, that is really when that shift happens. Understanding why and what is the price if you don't move forward with it, right? So many of us have, I know I should do that, right? Or, okay, well, I should work out or I should eat healthy. Going into what is the price to pay? And I'm here flipping it over, right? Because it's like, I want to do all these things. These are the things that I should like, oh, I do want to have a healthy body and I do want to feel good in my body. And welcoming in the fear aspect. What is the price to pay if you don't? Right? It could be severe health consequences. It could be not feeling good in my body. It can be just so like a number of things. I wouldn't be able to spend time. Let's say if I have a group of friends who's active, I wouldn't be able to spend time with them if it's hiking or something like that. So really getting into what is it costing me if I don't move forward with it. But again, not just solely relying on the fear, bringing the two together. So that is one of the things that I want to bring on here. Another one is the fear of rejection. Coping with the fear of rejection. I've addressed this one in several videos, and I will keep addressing it because I feel like this is one that we just fall into. Rejection from ourselves, rejection from others, and it's really rejection of ourselves from others because there are no others, right? It's just about the stories that you believe about yourself. So, what I want to invite with this one is actually just taking a deep breath into the body. I want to invite you to be present here, to ground and center and root, to feel the weight of your body on that which you're sitting on. And it may be helpful to put one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, connecting that, the inner wisdom, the inner knowing, and also the anxiety center, right? Where we feel our insecurities and fears, also excitements, but that's usually when we go, oh, right? So you want to connect the two. And feeling that touch, and it's your brain, different chemicals, the hormones get released when there's that touch. It's like you're giving yourself a hug. You're really communicating to your body, I'm safe. It's safe to be here now. And as you're inhaling in, into your belly, into your chest, into the nose, and exhaling out, letting it go. Allowing yourself, keep breathing like that as I talk, allowing yourself to release anything that is not of right now. Really with that exhale, and I encourage you to make it an audible one, like really, and adding that smile that, what if I don't have to take care of it all? What if life takes care of life? What if it's safe for me to be? What if I can tune into that human being that I am and not the human doing? Because most of us are human doings, right? We go into, what can I do? And am I doing enough? And what if instead we can welcome in the being into this day, or simply just into this moment right now? Can the being be enough? And one more deep inhale in, the deepest inhale you've taken all day. Can this be enough? And noticing right now your mind, because again, as within, so without. Noticing where your mind is rejecting the present moment, if it is. Knowing where your mind is going into the energy of rejection of right now is not enough. Of I should be somewhere else. I should be doing something else. I should be further along in life. And just allowing yourself to be here. And you may feel this as well somewhere in your body. And just getting kind of clear, narrowing that down. Sometimes when I ask my clients this, right, when you feel it in your body and they go, "Where aren't I feeling it?" No, there's a particular place, just narrowing that into a particular place in your body. As you're staying with the breath, staying with the mind, just observing it, you are not one with it. You're creating that space. You're in the observer's seat. You just get to witness. And just getting curious. What are you rejecting right now? I'm just feeling the energy of somebody who may be watching this, the replay. Control, needing control. Don't we all have that? So the rejection, what comes is, the not enoughness of this moment. It's that it should be somewhere else. I wish it was different, right? And it's, as the Buddhists say, it's that addiction to suffering comes from attachment, right? To attachment to a particular idea, to a particular way that things should be or how people should be. And we're not seeing that in our outer reality. So there's that suffering of, well, I want that, right? There's rejection of what is, not willing to see what is. And it's actually when you just let go of those ideas, you see the beauty of what is. But we often don't want to see that. And we're so attached to our own scripts that we have created in our own mind. And then wondering, why is life not playing along, right? How many times, and this is an invitation to bring us to awareness, how many times have you done that with somebody in your life, right? You kind of had expectations of them, and then they're not living up to those expectations that they don't even know about, and you're getting really upset. Well, this person is supposed to care for me, or they're supposed to know what I want, or they're supposed to know what I'm going through, and like make me feel better about what I'm going through, for example. I know that I've definitely had this with a parent. Oh God, don't parents have expectations of us? I've had this with my mother, of just at some point asking her, I feel like you're getting really frustrated and you're not getting what you want. So can you tell me, what are your expectations of our dynamic, of our relationship? And then I can tell you if I can meet those expectations. And she was just so confused by that question, because nobody's ever asked her that, right? The older generation, nobody's really asked, well, what are your expectations of me? So my mother had trouble formulating that. It's like, wait, what are my expectations? And she has plenty of them. But there was this, I'm not sure how to formulate them, right? Well, I expect you to be a good daughter. It's like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Is that I'm supposed to be calling you every single moment of every single day and being there with you all the time? Because if you can be realistic, being honest about those expectations and saying, those are my expectations. And then I can be honest and say, I can't possibly meet those expectations. So, and this is a really fun one. First of all, with yourself, where do you feel that expectations in your life are not clearly communicated? And as with any manifestation Monday, these are kind of really channeled, and I'm myself beginning to see why it's all tying together with that topic of coping with the feeling of rejection. Because when we go into trying to, first of all, this begins by bringing to awareness your own expectations of others, right? And then you rejecting the people when they are not meeting your expectations, but also us feeling rejected when it feels like I'm playing a game that I don't know the rules of, and I'm really bad at it, mostly because I don't know the rules of it. And asking yourself, how open are you to asking, what are the rules of the game, right? So similarly, like what I did with my mother, there was just this constant, not so much for me, because I'm just practicing detachment a lot just through my spiritual practice, but I did feel her frustration. I want to support her in that, and hence why came this question of, what are your expectations? And I'll let you know if I can support you in that or not. And a lot of the times we feel like this person is expecting things of us, obviously, and we're trying to meet those expectations, and we're not actually checking in with ourselves. Are those the expectations I want to meet? Can I meet those expectations? Are they realistic from the point of view of my life, right? Even though they may be from the other person. And we try to juggle all these. I'm actually thinking of like spinning plates rather, and we're trying to spin all of them, and they fall and they break, and we feel so bad, and we start beating ourselves up. Why aren't I good enough? That and I'm being rejected and I'm rejecting myself because I feel like I'm not good enough, even though the original problem was just that I'm trying to live up to expectations that A, I may not even know what they are, and B, they may be completely unrealistic for my life, and they may just be out of alignment. So, oh, this is such a good one. I actually came on Instagram today and spoke about how on the 16th of May, we have all these energies coming in that are just like abundance, prosperity, opportunities. However, we have to embrace them. We have to actually know what is it that we want so that we can use that as fuel to getting there. But if we don't know what we want, you can have all the fuels that you want, all the maps that you want. But if you don't know where you're going and where you're at, all the maps in the world are useless, right? So, this is really about that. I would really encourage you this week, as this is what's coming up, getting so clear on the expectations that you have about your life, about the people in your life, and about yourself. What do you feel? First of all, what are you expecting of other people? But also, what do you believe other people are expecting of you? And where are those boundaries that you can create that are just like, no, I can't do that. That's not something I can do. I know I had a friend of mine who she had the expectation of, I just need you to be there whenever she was going through a hard time in her life. And I just always need you to be there. And she would get upset when I wasn't. Well, at the same time, I had my own things going on. And if that was communicated openly, this is what I need from you at this time. I'm really struggling. And I just need you to be on call for the next few weeks. I would be able to tell her whether I was or was not able to do that. And realistically, I wasn't able to do that. And it's not that I didn't want to, just I had a lot of things going on. And if you don't give from the overflow, you're depriving yourself, and that's not a good place to be either. So getting so crystal clear, what are the expectations you're putting on yourself? What are the expectations of other people that you're believing in? And I cannot emphasize the importance of writing this down. I know some of you watching this may be so lazy. I'm sometimes lazy. Go into this place of, well, not anymore. Now I'm disciplined. But I didn't want to write it down because it feels like, well, isn't it the same if I just kind of bring it to awareness and that does the inner work? And I'm not like, when I'm writing things down, I'm not reading it anyway. So who cares? A different part of your brain gets activated when you write it down by hand. And especially if you're just starting out with your inner work, or maybe you've done inner work for a long time, but you still feel like your mind has control. Your mind is still getting in the way. Writing it down is so important. And I promise you don't have to do it all the time, but you will see the results and the difference. The shifts really happen when you write it down for most people. So this is why I strongly recommend for you to do this. Really writing those 3 categories of expectations and defining what is it for yourself that, like, I am living up to my own expectations. So for example, if the expectation is, being a good daughter or son, that's, good. That's a really big term. What is good for me may not be good for my parent. We may have very different understandings of that, what a good child is. So getting really clear on what are those expectations that you have about yourself, because rejection and that whole, coping with the feeling of rejection, we're only faced with this when we reject ourselves. If you are in integrity and live up to your own standards, there's not going to be a question of feeling rejected, because you know that I know that I did the best that I could, and it's okay that I don't live up to everybody's expectations, because I can't possibly. And as long as I know that I did what's right for me and I was the best version of myself that I could be, then I'm good. So this is what I invite you to this week. This is definitely the week to do it. And I will see you next Monday for going into how do we utilize the energies that are coming in next week. So on this note, I thank you for watching, and until next time.